Welcome to this week's version of Full Force. I'm going over white-black this time. This is a deck that I really wanted to do. I just picked it myself because I really wanted to try it. I've been playing a lot more of the format and I'm getting more of a handle on it, and I think that white-black is kind of underutilized and seems fairly good. The idea of being able to use things like, for kind of your common base, things like Midnight Scavenger and Ironclad Slayer, and then like Boon of Emrakul and Choking Restraints and other enchantments like that that are removal spells to just kind of grind out constant value, has been really good. I've found the deck to perform at a lot higher than I thought it would, so it's been really good to me, and I wanted to test it out and just see how good it could possibly be and do some, some full force testing here as we normally do. We have some good cards in this pack. There's Extricator of Sin, which is really nice. You can sacrifice non-Eldrazi creatures to put in 3/2s. And I mean, plus Eldrazi control have Vigilance. It's a 3/5. It's a nice card. I mean, I'm not entirely certain if I want the Extricator. There's also Blessed Alliance, which I do like a lot. Being able to force somebody to sacrifice an attacking creature. And then you can just up it from there, escalate it as it were, and make it a much better card. If you have 4 mana and you can get away with, having an attack where your opponent attacks with a bunch of things, you can untap 2 creatures, make them sacrifice, and just really get them. Not going to happen all that often. I'd say the most common thing is they sacrifice a creature and you gain 4 life if you're going to do an escalate, but I think that it's probably the best card in the pack. It's close between that and Extricator, at least for black-white. I'll see what you guys think afterwards. I'm interested on that one. Ooh, now we have Graph Rats, which I'd like, because I want to try and get Midnight Scavenger. There's also Ironclad Slayer, though, and it might be going a little deep, but I kind of want to just take it right now. And, like I said, I think that seems a little bit crazy, but I want to try and hit like Boon of Emrakul and Choking Restraints, the Faith Unbroken, all those cards that I was kind of mentioning at first, and just try and churn out a lot of value over all of our creatures coming into play. And I think that Ironclad Slayer is one of the better ways to do that, so I'm just going to grab it now and see where it ends up. I think that this is the real standout card of white-black, like that it's kind of underrated right now, and it's better than it seems, so I'm going to try and do what I can with it. Here we have Repel the Abominable is not very good. Sigardian Priest is just fantastic. The best white common behind Choking Restraints, I think. Graph Rats is good. Guardian of Pilgrims is quite decent. I like Thraben Foulbloods a lot, and it tends to wheel, so I'm thinking that we're going to get it here. Considering that we're in white-black, we're probably going to be getting some Delirium sub-themes. That's generally what happens. You get a couple Foulbloods, you pick up some Delirium cards in Shadows over Innistrad, and you can certainly play Delirium. Plus, you've got lots of different ways to get it into your graveyard get cards into your graveyard in white-black. You tend to have things like Vessel of Ephemera for white to sacrifice to get an enchantment, and you can do some other shenanigans and stuff to get cards in. We have an instant, now we have a sorcery, for example. There is also Borrowed Malevolence I could take. I think I like Spectral Reserves a little more. I don't have any black cards yet, which is certainly a problem. Shrill Howler is really nice, and so are Brazen Wolves. So these are good cards outside of our colors, but I just really want to obviously force what we're going to do here. And I think Spectral Reserves is slightly better than Borrowed Malevolence. I'm not 100% on that one. Ooh. Now we have some choices to make. Gavony Unhallowed is real good. This card's gone way up in my estimation. Like, when I first started, I thought, well, it's fine. I think it's good even, but not great. It just, it's an upgraded, oh man, what is that card? Unruly Mob. It's like an upgraded Unruly Mob. I'm like, it's fine, it gets counters when it dies, sure. I mean, but a 2/4 at the start, it's kind of a little bit upgraded from, like, a 1/1 for 2 is bad. A 2/4 for 4 is fine. So it's like, well, it's probably good. This card's great. It's so hard to deal with. 4 toughness is kind of where this format has a hard time dealing with things. And then you just up it from there, and suddenly you just can't deal with it. Despite all of what I said, though, I did take Midnight Scavengers, and that's simply because of the fact that A, there was Graph Rats going around, and B, I really want this Ironclad Slayer to work. So I want my Midnight Scavengers, mostly because of the fact that I have the Ironclad Slayer. It was a tough pick, though. I do really like the Gavany Unhallowed. Now we have Borrowed Grace, Faithbearer Paladin, Steadfast Cathar. I think that I want the 2-drop over the 5. I like Faithbearer Paladin, but I want to have an early game more than I want to have a late game. So I think I just take the Steadfast Cathar. Steadfast Cathar is really strong as well. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. I like Cryptolith Fragment, actually. This is a very polarizing card. I think that it's really, really strong, mostly because it's so good on the attack. If you end up being the aggressive deck and being ahead on board, Cryptolith Fragment just absolutely seals games. Now, if you're behind, it's unplayable. When you end up being like, if you're down, you're at 9 life and your opponent's at 18 or something, and you're kind of on a losing board, you draw Cryptolith Fragment, that sucks. It's a bad feeling. But it's so good when you're ahead that I think it still makes the card like a B- kind of card. Like, yeah, it's unplayable when you're behind, but when you're ahead or on an even board, it's so nasty and it's hard to deal with. So I think that it's still slightly into the B range there. So like B- or B, just solely because of its attack potential. We have Succumb to Temptation and Thraben Standard Bearer. I think we just take the Succumb. I'm not 100% certain on that. Thraben Standard Bearer is interesting, but I don't think I need it. Terrarian, it can help us get Delirium if we really need it, and if I have to, I can splash another color. We might find something really, really strong for Delirium, like in green, that we might play. It's possible. I'm going to try not to, but we'll see what happens. We have Wailing Ghoul and Graph Harvest. I think that Graph Harvest is good, but more in Sealed, where the games are slower. Late game, this card can be really awesome, but it has to go really long, so I'd rather just take the Wailing Ghoul. Now we have another Cemetery Recruitment, which I will take. Works well enough with a Wailing Ghoul, and I might find some zombies and be able to do something with it. I don't think I'm going to go that deep, but we'll see. I will probably play a Lunarch Mantle if I have Ironclad Slayer. I need more enchantments. I didn't get any Boon of Emrakul's, which is a card that I'm really looking for right now. I didn't wheel any of the Graph Rats, which definitely sucks. Probably people that are hating them a little bit because they don't want somebody to end up getting the Midnight Scavengers. So I wouldn't be surprised if people don't let them wheel just because of the meld potential with this. The card's not very good on its own. If you don't have Midnight Scavengers, I mean, it's a 2-1 for 2 with no text on it, which is playable, but not great by any means. It's not a card that you want to be snapping up early. It's something that you would expect to normally pick up, like, 10th, 11th, that kind of thing. Like a late wheel kind of thing. This pack, I would love to get... What would I like to get the most? Like, a Choking Restraints would be wonderful. Boon of Emrakul would be nice. Wouldn't mind another Midnight Scavengers. Ooh, there's a Harmless Offering. Ooh, there's also the Boon of Emrakul. Dice Fueled Scarecrow is great, by the way, but yeah, I think that we want the Boon. It's just so nice, the Ironclad Slayer. I'd love another Slayer now, too. Once we have a Boon, I think Slayer goes up a lot in value. Very happy to have that. I'd like a Faith Unbroken if possible, too. I'm asking for all of these specific cards. Oh my god. This pack is great. I want Faith Unbroken. Lone Rider is also exceptionally strong. I have been more and more impressed with this card the more that I see it. I actually kind of hate the card because I tend to lose to it, and it's really annoying when you lose to it. When your opponent plays a turn 2 Lone Rider and then just, like, Strength of Arms it on turn 3, and you just can't, like, you can't win at that point. It's kind of miserable, but yeah, I'd like it to be miserable on my side of the board for once, honestly. Faith Unbroken, really good removal, strong card. It's very swingy because if they have an answer for it, you open yourself up to a really bad 2-for-1. Whereas if you do it the other way, if you remove it and they don't have an answer, then you just opened up a huge swing in your favor. That's basically a 2-for-1. Pump spell and being able to remove their thing. It's just a really, really strong card, but really high risk, high reward. There's Crypt Breaker here, though, and I think that it's just the best. It's so broken. Being able to tap your zombies to draw cards just means that it ends up like a pack rat. You tap. It's not pack rat, don't get me wrong. It's not that good, but most of the time, every turn, you're just going to sit there and go, well, I could play this, but I could also just discard it, and then I can just draw extra cards, so like, you always just end up activating Crypt Breaker. Every time that I've had this card, and it's been in play, I'm sitting there thinking about what cards I can play, and then realizing it's just better to discard most of them to this anyways. We have Collective Effort. Tap an untapped creature you control as the Escalade. Destroy target creature with 4 power or greater. I couldn't remember this one exactly. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. I think I don't mind Collective Effort. It doesn't seem great, but it's not terrible either. Abundant Maw is something that I could take. I could also take a Dragoon or a Faith Bearer. I think that we just try the Collective Effort. I haven't played with it before. It seems interesting, if not amazing. Ooh, another Sigardian Priest. Fiendbinder is nice, but Sigardian Priest is the real deal. Certain Death wouldn't be terrible. I would like more removal. We just have the Boon of Emrakul basically right now. But yeah, Sigardian Priest is just too strong not to take. Oath of Liliana. Ooh. Make somebody sacrifice a creature. It's too bad Ironclad Slayer cannot get back enchantments. It only gets back auras. Something to remember, I always think that this get back enchantments and equipment, but its auras are equipment. So this doesn't actually count as an aura, so not quite as good as getting like a Choking Restraints, which I'd much rather have, but I don't mind Oath of Liliana, I suppose. There's nothing else here that's that great anyways. There's Borrowed Malevolence or Strange Augmentation. None of these are particularly interesting to me. Borrowed Malevolence is fine, but not a huge pickup. Making people sacrifice is good. We have Certain Death, but I don't have a lot of creatures. I think that we just need to take Olivia's Dragoon here. Or I could take Lupine Prototype. I haven't actually played with this. I'm really not sure if it's good or bad yet. I'm gonna lean towards... I feel like it's not good, but I haven't played with it, so it's hard to tell. I'm going to just mess around with it. We've got Crypt Breaker. We can discard extra cards. Let's do it. I might wheel Olivia's Dragoon, one of them. Ooh, a Liliana's Elite and a Gavany Unhallowed. Steadfast Cathar, Thraben Foulbloods. Lots of good cards here. I'm pretty sure that I want the Unhallowed, though. I talked its praises in the last pack and didn't get to pick it, so I'm going to take it this time. Thraben Foulbloods is nice, but I like the Unhallowed a little more. Skurzdag Supplicant does let us discard cards, which can be nice to fuel Delirium. It's a way to get actual lands into your graveyard, which is kind of tough. But I'm not huge on the card. I might just take Field Creeper, because that also fuels Delirium, and I'd rather have a 2-drop, I think. I'm going to put it in the sideboard for now. I'd probably take out Succumb to Temptation and put it in the side as well. Spectral Reserves I may play. I could also play this Cultist Staff, though. Right now, I don't really have a way to pump up my little creatures. Lunarch Mantle, I guess. But I think that Cultist Staff is a great way to make some of our little guys, like Ironclad Slayer, into more realistic threats. So I'm going to play the Cultist Staff. Guardian of Pilgrims and a Steadfast Cathar. I didn't get any Courageous Outriders. I didn't get extra Ironclad Slayers or Midnight Scavengers, just one of each. Only one Boon of Emrakul. This is a very medium version of this, I think. It gets a lot better if you get, like, Outriders. I think I like the Guardian of Pilgrims slightly more than Steadfast Cathar here, because the humans don't really matter to this deck right now. So I'm going to take that. Now we have another Cultist Staff and a Supplicant. This time I'll take the Supplicant. We don't want 2 Cultist Staffs, that's for sure. Take Standard Bearer. And, might as well take a Strange Augmentation. Let's just switch it up. Just to have another card in the sideboard. If I really find a deck that has, like, no removal, and we just need to cheese them out as quickly and as early as possible, maybe I'll play Strange Augmentation. It seems really unlikely, but it's certainly more likely, I think, than playing 2 Thraben Standard Bearers out of the sideboard. I can see siding in 1, but I can't see siding in 2. Ooh, wow. This is a good pack for us. I would like Behind the Scenes, but I think it's Bound by Moonsilver. Making the Ironclad Slayer better is just so key. Heir of Falconwrath is obviously great. Vessel of Ephemera would be nice, but Bound by Moonsilver just seems so much more powerful than everything else here. So we'll just take that. Now we have Spectral Shepherd, and not a lot else. There's Strength of Arms and Rotten Heart Ghoul. I like Rabbit Bite a lot, obviously. It's a great card, but I don't think I'm going to splash for it or anything like that. Card is easily the best in the pack. Take the flyer, though. We're going to be mostly an aggressive deck. This Cryptolith Fragment, in my mind, is looking better and better because we're trying to be more aggressive than I would have originally thought. I'll see how this turns out. It's kind of weird because we've got a lot of 2s and 3s and a really low curve, but we have, like, a lot of those 2s are things like double Sigardian Priest, which is not the most aggressive card. Yeah, you can tap down creatures so you can attack through them, but I don't know. Not 100% certain that I love those as some of our creatures. And we only have 10 creatures, so 2 of them being Sigardian Priests that are probably not attacking seems a bit of a problem. Ooh, Griffspoon is amazing, though. I will definitely slam that. Emissary of the Sleepless would be fine. Vampire Noble might almost be better for us in this deck. Especially if we just want to fly it over with like a Griffspoon or put a Cultist Staff on it or something. Alright. What else are we looking for in this pack? Want to wheel that behind the scenes that we had in the first pick. Yeah, I don't know. This is less of a deck than I wanted it to be, unfortunately. I'm not sure what else I even really need in this pack. Most of the big picks for this deck, I think, are in the first 2 packs. They're really in Eldritch Moon and not so much in Shadows over Innistrad. Because it's all about, like, the Ironclad Slayer, Midnight Scavengers, Boon of Emrakul kind of shenanigans, at least in my mind. Those are the cards that I really like to play with. That kind of trifecta of buying back value over and over. Courageous Outrider to draw some of the pieces like that, whether it's Scavengers or Slayer. All that kind of intermingling of just, like, extra value. I think that we take the Devilthorn Fox over Strength of Arms. We just need more creatures right now, so it makes sense. It's another thing that can hold a Cultist Staff. Now we have the Inquisitor's Ox and Call the Bloodline. Call the Bloodline is very interesting. Gives us a steady stream of tokens to block with for Gavony Unhallowed to just keep pumping it up. We can equip them with Cultist Staff or Griffspoon. I think I like that a lot. It works really well with Collective Effort because we can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. Yeah, I think that that's what we want. Call the Bloodline does seem quite good for us. And we can basically count it as a creature as well because we're just going to discard extra lands to it. We have a very low curve, so it seems like the extra lands will be a real thing that we have most of the time to just chuck away to it. Now we have a Moorland Drifter, which could be fine. It seems like we're going to get a fair bit of Delirium just because of things like Call the Bloodline now, the couple of enchantments that we have, like Boon of Emrakul and Bound by Moonsilver, Oath of Liliana. At some point, one of these will go to the graveyard, Lunarch Mantle, that kind of stuff. I like the Moorland Drifter for that. It could be a Militant Inquisitor with the Cultist Staff. It's the only equipment we have, though, right? Because this is a creature and this is just a regular artifact. So I think we want the Moorland Drifter. I don't really want Pale Rider. Grab that. Now we have Survive the Night and Strength of Arms. I kind of like Survive the Night. Maybe even a little more than Strength of Arms. The indestructibility and the extra draw is the real thing. Being able to draw an extra card off of it, I think is worth the extra 2 mana. I could very much be wrong on that, but I've enjoyed the Survive the Night. Now we've got Not Forgotten. Not Forgotten is fine. It lets us rebuy things like Midnight Scavengers or the Slayer and just kind of keep getting value. I don't really want Stromkirk Mentor. I don't care about Survive the Night number 2. Yeah, I'll try a Not Forgotten. Probably not playing it, but we'll see. Vessel of Ephemera and Behind the Scenes. Behind the Scenes is really good with Call the Bloodline and other token makers, so like Cryptbreaker, Call, Vessel of Ephemera, which unfortunately we're going to have to pass if we want the Behind the Scenes. The Vessel itself is kind of nice. Just help us get Delirium for like Moorland Drifter. How much do I really need Delirium though? I think I'd just take the Behind the Scenes. And we have Grottenheart Ghoul or Strength of Arms. I'll take the Strength. Now we have the Survive and the Strength. And Vampire Noble. So we can have either one of them in the deck if we want them to be there. What else do we take out of here right now? We need one card cut. I don't want to cut any creatures. We only have 12. It's just not enough right now. I might even put the Vampire Noble in. Runaway Carriage. Don't think I'd want that. Don't think I want Magnifying Glass either, though. I guess I'll take it. If we end up in a really, really long game for some reason, Magnifying Glass can be good. I don't really see a reason why we'd end there, but we can see. Alright. What are we cutting? A lot of people swear by Lunarch Mantle. I don't know that I like it. It's nice with Gavony Unhallowed and some of the tokens, I guess. It's nice with the Ironclad Slayer to rebuy it. I think I can just get rid of it, though. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I might just be wrong. But I need more creatures and less spells that are just kind of weighing us down. I might almost just cut the Cultist Staff. Maybe the Cryptolith Fragment. The Cryptolith Fragment does get worse when you're not fixing other colors, because that's kind of the other use of it, right? I mean, you don't want to be just pinging your opponent with it. That I don't think is good enough. You really need to be able to use that mana, and since we're not ramping and we're not fixing, I guess I can get rid of Cryptolith Fragment. Even though I like the card a lot, I just think that this isn't the deck for it. So if we cut that, then we can play Vampire Noble. Not the best card, but we are just trying to have more low-end creatures to attack with. We can put a Grifspoon on it and give it flying, which is a pretty big deal. A 4-power flyer is nice. I think that this is a little better. This is more what I want. I'm really sad taking out the Cryptolith Fragment, though. I'm going to test out this Lupine prototype. Get in there, Mecha Wolf. Alright, let's just add some lands and I think we're good to go. Pretty sure this is a 10-7. Yeah, I think that's correct. It's a little unfortunate because we want to be able to get Cryptbreaker on turn 1 if we have it, but I don't think I want to go like 9-8. We do have a lot of white 2-drops, and we have double white on Collective Effort, so it makes more sense to have it as a 10-7 split. So we'll just slam it like that, and we're good to go. Be back for the rounds. Alright. Boon the Stitchwing, play Lupine Prototype. Ironclad Slayer can rebuy the Boon next turn. Kind of perfect.